So hello friends, welcome to Bitwise Coding channel. My name is Rahul Chaudhary and today we are going to see how JWT works. So JWT, usually there are two different types of JWT to handle. One is simple JWT and another one is PyJWT. So first we will understand what is simple JWT. So simple JWT is an extension of Django REST framework where everything is we get everything ready-made. So there is ready-made views, permissions, and it handles JWT tokens uh, by itself. So there is no manual involvement, but on the other hand, we have PyJWT where everything we have to do manually. So we have all the control over the JWT tokens. That's why I have chose PyJWT to implement in my project. So let's start. So this is my urls .py file that holds multiple endpoints. So we will come to this, but let's start with the model first. So here I have created a model. I hope you all guys are aware what is model. If not, then I will give a glance of what is a model. Uh, a model a model is always declared in the models.py file of an app, and a model in models, it is a Python class. It is a Python class that represents the table in the database, and this attribute represents the fields of my table present in the database with the constant and the data types written. So let's start. So first I have created a user class model, and I have doing an inheritance from the abstract user. So these are the fields that I have mentioned: username, name, email, and user type. And then user type have two choices: admin and user. And these are the fields that are required for super user. These are the fields that will required when we go for creating a super user, and these are the fields that will be required when we will be log in as a super user to access the admin interface. Then I have created another model with name user token, where I have created four attributes: user tokens, created and expired at, which will be and this model will be used for token storage. So let's see my serializer. So in serializer.py file, I have written a class serializer class where we are inheriting from model serializer class, which is also called as our base class, which is present in the serializers module. So this is class meta, which will hold that for which particular model we are creating this serializer class, and these are the fields which we are dealing with. Means by the time when we are accepting the data from the front end, we want this four fields should be present, and by the time when we are giving the data to the front end, we will be responding with these four fields only. So you must be thinking, when we are providing the data back to front end, then if we share the password, then how the sensitivity of the password secure? Is it secure? No, definitely it is not secure, because we it is very obvious that we cannot share the password in our response. So that is the reason we have written here password write only true. That means we are expecting the password field when we are taking the input from the front end, but we are not expecting the password field when we are giving the response back to the front end. And here we have created a function with name create. Here basically we are overriding the default create function to make the password encrypted. Okay, so let's go to our URLs now. So as we can see, there are multiple URLs, or we can say endpoints are present. So this endpoint is for my register user, for user registration, and these four are for performing CRUD operation like creation, deletion, updation. For updation, there are two endpoints, because it might happen that user can come and it has to do with uh, it don't want to change all the fields. Instead it want to change one or two fields, then he will go for patch instead of going for put. The put comes when the user want to change everything, and then there is delete. So these four are for performing CRUD operation. So we will not go with within more details for these endpoints, but obviously I will give a glance for these endpoints, and these are the main endpoints that we are focusing on. These four endpoints are the core of JWT that we are handling manually using PyJWT. So let's start with the user registration endpoint. So this is the corresponding function based API view that is uh, that will be get executed when we visit that particular URL or endpoint. So first I am taking a request, and then I am expecting these four fields from the front end: name, email, password, and user type, and I am storing it in these variables again: name, email, password, and user type. Then I have created a regex. Name regex that the name, this means name must contain more than two letters. This means this is the regex I have written for email, that it should contain alphabetical, small a to z, capital A to z, or numbers, and it then it should contain one at the rate, and then gmail.com. Then I have created a regex for password, that it should contain one capital letter, one small letter, one special character, like this, and all total there should be more six or more than six character present in a password. So regex is basically I'm providing a constraint that if the value does not satisfying this constraint or conditions, then I cannot accept this value. This is the means in easy word, regex means that only. So as I said, we are taking the name, email, password, and user type fields from the front end and storing it into the name variable, email variable, password, and user type variable. Then I am checking that the value given in name satisfies my name regex, means it should contain more than two letter, one capital letter, like that. So I am doing the same thing with my email, and if they are not satisfying my condition, then they will getting a response as please enter your full name, avoid any number or special character. In case of email, they will get the email is not in correct format. Then for password, they will get password should be minimum six character with one uppercase, one lowercase, one special character. Then if the value that user provided satisfies all these conditions, then I will go for a check that the email provided by the by coming from the front end, does it exist in my database or not. If it exists, then I will be returning the response: this email is already registered with status 400. That means it is a bad request. Then I will be checking if not all, means if any if frontend forgot to provide any value for the any of the field, or like user is only not provided the field and they are trying to submit the form, then it will uh, give the response as please fill up all the fields with status 400. If the data coming from the front end satisfied all these conditions, then only this else part will get executed, where I am manually creating a object for my user class field, which is my model, or I can say table in the database, where I'm giving the name as name. This is my value, and this is the field of my table or attribute of my model class. Then I will give the email, then I will password, and I have used this make underscore password for so that the password is given by coming from the front end as a plain text, so I cannot save it directly as it is, so I have to encrypt that password before saving. So that's why I have used make underscore password. Then I have given the user type. This user type is the this this user type is the field of my table present in database, or we can say this is an attribute of my user model class, and this is the value coming from the front end. Then after creating an object for my user model class, I am saving that user created, means I am saving this object. Then I am preparing a, a dictionary with name response underscore data, where I will pass the message as user created successfully, and this where and I will uh, call my serializer, where I am passing my this user created, means this entire data I am passing here. Then I will return the response with the status 200, which is a good request. Okay, so this was the view that is responsible for user registration. Now this four views are for performing CRUD. CRUD already we have seen, because CRUD means registration of the user. Then these are the REST 4 UPI APIs which will be responsible for performing CRUD. So I will just give a glance of all that views. So this is the get API, which will fetch all the records from the user table. This is an ORM statement. This is an ORM statement. I forgot to say it in the last view that this is an ORM statement, and this user is my model. This objects is my adapter, and this this is my ORM function. And I'm and this user is not a variable, it is a query set which will hold all my records of the table, of the user table or class, as a key value pair. Okay, so this view is for fetching all the records from the table. Then coming to patch, as I said in this view, if user want to update, if user want to do any partial update, then they will go for this particular view. So I have also used regex here, so that means if the user is changing its password, then again he or she should give some password like which is satisfying my regex conditions. Okay, so this was the view for partial updation. Then coming to put, when we want to change everything, we go for put. So here I am getting the request and the ID from the endpoint, from my endpoint. Then I'm fetching the user via that ID. So basically, this get will return me only uh, one record. These are the conventions or rules. Like get will return me one element, that all will return me all the, then filter, then there is filter which will return a record that will be satisfying the condition that we have written within the parenthesis. So this is the view that will be executed when user is going to change all the data. Then there is a delete delete endpoint, which where we will again get the request, and we are fetching the id, and then we are and if id is not provided, then we will return this response, and if id is provided, then we will find which for which user we are going to execute this view. Then we are deleting the record, and we will send a response message, user deleted successfully. Then there is except block, which will execute if this try block does not execute it. There we are sending the message as user invalid. Okay, now coming to the main part where the JWT comes. So here is the login part. So we are now executing, we are seeing now this particular endpoint, user login. So front end will give me email and password. So I will fetch the email and password in these two variables, and I will also check by using ORM statement. As I said, this is an ORM statement, this is an adapter, and this is my model. So I am checking that the email provided by the user is present in my table, that is present in database or not. If any is presented, then it will get stored in my this particular variable. This dot first means, uh, obviously their emails are unique, but whichever email matches the first record will be returned. It will not go further for any checking. So then I have written a condition if user is none. So like if I am not able to fetch any user, means that particular email is not even registered. So I will return the raise I will raise an exception with the message invalid credentials. Then I will check if if I am able to fetch the user, means it does have some value, then I will go for the password check for that particular user. And if I get the password, then it is fine. If I don't get the password similar, means exact password, then I will throw the exception with invalid credential. If the user provides his or her email and password properly, then they will must pass these two conditions, and then we will be executing this. Where comes the JWT? If the user have logged in, then we will be creating one access token and refresh token. For that we will be calling the function access create access token and create refresh token. So let me give a brief about this two. What is access token, what is refresh token? Access token is for the access only, means it is of short span of time, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then after the expiration of the access token, via a refresh token we can create a new access token, which again have the validity of 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever we have provided. And it also generates one new refresh token. Okay, so and the refresh token lifespan of have a long lifespan, like 7 days, 15 days, 30 days. So because of the long lifespan of refresh token, we keep on refreshing our access token as well. Okay, I hope I have given a glance of this. Now let's jump into this particular functions. So here I am passing the ID of my user that have logged that have given the email and password. So here is the algorithm that so basically JWT consists three parts. One is algorithm, one is payload, and payload we can pass any detail in payload, but payload should contain one unique attribute of the user through which we can fetch which particular user we are pointing at. Okay, so that's why I have given the user ID here in the payload, and secret key is the third part of JWT. With these three algorithm, payload and secret key, we create one JWT token. So then I am creating a variable with name token where I am calling a built-in function jwt.encode that takes three parameters, and and with the details of these three parameters it make a encoded token that we can use further, and then that encoded token is stored in the token variable, and I am returning the token. And also let's see the refresh token, because we are also calling the refresh token here. So it is almost same. We are giving an algorithm, we are giving the payload, we are giving the secret key, and then we are calling this particular built-in function and providing these three details, and then again we are returning the uh, token. So one more thing, what I have said, like this have a short span of life. As you can see here, it have a 15 minutes of time span, and my refresh token has a time span of 7 days. So this that is what I have explained earlier, that is how the life cycle of access token and refresh token uh, is going to take place. Now coming again to my views, they both have returned their tokens, and we have stored the access token and refresh token in the refresh token variable. Then I am creating one object for my user token model, that we have declared in our models.py file, which will be responsible for holding my tokens only. So there I am passing the details, like these are the attributes of my table and these are the values that I am passing. So here I have manually created a record in my user token table. Then I am creating a response, and I'm setting the cookies as refresh token. So I'm setting the refresh token in my cookies. That's why I have written this particular line. And then I am creating a response.data, which is a dictionary format like key value pair, where I will provide the response to my front end like access token, refresh token, name, email, and user type. So this was the view that is responsible for executing when user is logging in. Then comes the refresh view. So as you have seen here, that access token have a lifespan of 15 minutes in the code that I have shown you. But so we were discussing about the how we will be refreshing the token. What is the need of refreshing the token first? So as I said, that access token have a lifespan of 15 minutes in my code, and refresh token have a lifespan of 7 days. So obviously 15 the access token will expire within 15 minutes, after 15 minutes. So when the access token is expired, through refresh token we can auto generate the access token. So this view is particularly for that, to keep on entertaining that cycle, we have written this view. So first I have created a refresh underscore token that will where I'm fetching the request.data.get refresh token. This statement is particularly I have written for if my endpoints are using in an Android application, because there is no cookies present. But in case of browser or web applications, there is cookies present, so we can fetch the refresh token from the cookies. So if then I have given a condition, if not refresh token, then we will be returning the response as message refresh token not provided, status 400. Then there is a try block where I have written user underscore id decode refresh token, and I am passing this refresh token here by the time when I am calling this particular function decode underscore refresh underscore token. So let's see what is inside this decode refresh token function. So here we have written a try block first, where I am creating a variable payload and I am calling a built-in function jwt.decode. Till now we have seen jwt.encode. Now we are calling jwt.decode, where I am passing the token as this particular token I am passing here, and I am passing this as my secret key. This is a secret key which we have used during the creation of a refresh token. Let's see once again, create refresh token. This is my secret key. So the value is like at the rate create underscore refresh token. So there here I am passing that, and then the algorithm, which is hs256. Then I am returning the payload uh, precisely user id from the payload. And then I have written exception block, like if this face some issues, this try block face some issues, then this except block handle the error gracefully. So I have returned the user id from this function decode refresh token, and here I am storing my user id. Then I am fetching the user from my user model by using orm get orm statement. Here is the condition id is equal to user id. This is the user id that we have that we got from our decode refresh token. Then I am creating a object that will fetch a record from user token using this filter orm statement, where user is equal to user, and this is the attribute or field of my table, and this user uh, is the value that we have fetched here in this particular line. Then token is equal to refresh token. This is the address, sorry, this is the attribute or field of the table, and this is the value. This is the value we got from here, from line number 208. And there and here is the expiration time. Dot first means whichever first record that I will get with these detail, I will select that. So if not token dot, if I not able to find that record, then I will throw uh, I will give the response as invalid token or expired refresh token with status 400, which is a bad request. And if user does not exist, then I will return invalid user. Then if any other exception, I will be throwing this particular error, invalid token, and I will show them the error as well. Then if everything is fine and I got the token object, then I will be deleting that token object from my table, because until unless we do not delete the old record, we will not be able to generate the new record. And if without deleting the older record we generate new record, then it consume excessive memory. So that's why we will deleting this record, and then we are creating new variable, new variable, new access token, new refresh token. So there we have we are again calling create access token function and passing the user, the id of the user, and again we are calling the create refresh token and passing the id of that particular user. So let's see what is present here. Again, like this function we have discussed earlier as well. So this is the payload, and one field should be always unique in the payload. This is my secret key. Then we are calling the built-in method jwt.encode. We are passing these three parameters through which it will encode and generate the encoded token. We will store that token in the token. We will return that token. Same goes for refresh token algorithm, payload, secret key, token, and returning the token. So now we got the new access token and new refresh token. Now I am creating manually one more record with the new tokens in my user token model. This user is the attribute. This user is the value that I want to create, that I am creating a new access and refresh token for. Then in token I am giving the value that I have stored in the variable new refresh token, then the expiration time from now till 7 days. Then I am creating a response where I am calling my serializer and passing these data. So this will show all the fields that I have mentioned in my serializer, which are, let me see, which are like name, email, and user type. Then I am giving new access token and then new refresh token. This will be the response that I am sending to the front end, and I am also updating the cookies that is present in the browser with the new refresh token, like key, where I have given the value of key as refresh token and value as new refresh token, means I am updating the cookies as well. So this was the view that will be executing when we will be uh, uh, regenerate my access token and refresh token. Then comes the user API. So user API comes with three decorators. This one though we have seen that, like, this is a decorator of creating an API. Then this is a new decorator. These two are the new decorators that we are seeing. So it is a permission class. Like, this particular view can be accessed only if the user is authenticated and JWT authentication. So let's see what are these things. Sorry. Uh, these are present in my authentication file. Yes. So let's close all the methods. Sorry, all the functions. Then this is my JWT authentication class. So the very first thing is it taking the parameter as self and request. Def authenticate is a method that I have defined inside the JWT authentication class. As you can see, JWT authentication class. This is authenticated. I will come to this later on. Let me first finish what is JWT authentication. So if a user is trying to access this route, means they have already logged in, because this is the route which is for their profile visit. Means it represent their that particular user only, which have already logged in. So first, so by the time when the user is logged in, they and want to try some protected route, then by the time they are trying to access a protected route, front end sends a authorization in this format. Let me write here hash authorization colon bearer and the access token. So front end will send something like this when the user is trying to access some protected route. This access token holds the value. So I have created one variable, not exactly variable, it is a list with name auth underscore header, and I am calling a method and passing the request, and I am using dot split method. So as we know, dot split will always return us a list only. So then this authorization contains two elements. One is bearer and one is my access token. So I am checking if the length of the auth user, if not is equal to 2, then I will raise a authentication failed error that will show issue on authentication header, because it must contain two element at least, and not at least, it will exactly contain two elements, which this is my zeroth element and this is my first element. So here I am checking the length of the auth header. If it is not equal to 2, I will throw this error. Otherwise, if it satisfies this condition, then I will execute the try block, where I am writing the token as a variable, and I am accessing the first element, means zeroth, sorry, zeroth and first, means I am accessing the access token because it is stored in auth header list, and I am using a decode method. So I will print token received from the client and token. This is just for debugging purpose, but in the production level we will not be showing this token. And otherwise, if this try block does not execute or faces any error, then I will then this except block will get executed unicode decode error invalid token encoding, that will throw the message invalid token encoding. Then again I will be executing the try block user underscore id decode. Then I am calling in the, I have created a variable user underscore id, and I am calling the again this particular function decode access token, and I am passing the token that I have fetched here. So this particular line is to decode the token from the list, but it is still in a encoded format, but it is in a string format. Now after executing this particular line, it will be in a string format, but this particular line decode underscore access token is actually decoding the token and making it into a human readable format. Like let's first go to this particular view, sorry, this particular function, as we have seen it earlier as well. This try block, here is a payload variable, and then we have called the built-in function jw.decode, that is taking these three parameters and decoding the token and returning the payload, precisely the user id from the payload. So I'm storing the user id here. Then I am trying to fetch the user using that particular user ID using ORM statement. And if the try block have some issues, then this except block will execute, which will throw the error user not found. And this is again a exception block that will handle the any other error gracefully. And then I'm returning the user. So let's go to views. So if one can pass that and is authenticated, means that particular user is authenticated, he or she have logged in successfully. So if a user pass these two permission classes and authentication classes, then only they will able to access this particular route, otherwise not. So here I am taking the request and user is equal to request user. I'm storing the that request in my user variable. Then I'm creating a object serializer for my serializer class, where I'm passing this user variable and creating a response in as a key value pair, where I'm returning the data of the serializer, means whatever fields we have mentioned in the serializer, that all will be responded back to the front end. Then the last but not the least, user logout. So this is a decorator through which we will not be able to take any headache for the CSRF token. That's why we have written this CSRF underscore exempt. And then coming to the views. So here also I have created a refresh token, and I am fetching, means this particular syntax is written to fetch the refresh token from the Android, and this from the web browser. So if I don't found any refresh token, then message token missing, status 400, bad request. And token object, if I found the refresh token, then I will creating a token object for my user token model, and I will filter it on the basis of this refresh token that I got. And if not token object, then invalid or already logged out. Means if this token object is not present, then the user uh, must be logged out. And after fetching this token object, I will be filtering filtering on the basis of that particular token, and deleting it. And then I'm creating a response with message logout successful, status 200, which is a good or fine request. And then I'm also deleting the cookies that is present in web browser. And then I am returning the response. So this is how the JWT works. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.